Well, welcome to Your Retirement with Insurance 365. We do this the third Saturday morning of every month here on News Talk WJAG. My name is Jeffrey Steffen, and Insurance 365, the proprietor is Jay Kenobi. Jay, good morning.
Good morning, Jeffrey.
And his specialist, Angela Cradaville, is here with us as well. Angela, hello once again.
Hello.
We're going to assume that there were some folks who didn't hear us last time around, Jay, here. So I want to go back and review a few things. Let's talk about Insurance 365. And what sets you guys apart, particularly when it comes to the Medicare supplement time. And we're going to talk more about that later.
Well, we started out in 2015, April 1st of 2015, and set out to be unique place in the marketplace. We looked at there's insurance agencies about every block and a half, Jeffrey. And we set out and said, what do the consumers want? And we have to offer something completely different than everybody else. So that was the mindset when we were theorizing to build this practice, when we started to think about how many people we were going to need, what location, what resources, that sort of mentality. We decided this is what we wanted to do, was focus on the retirement side.
And handle it for people and even do the work, right?
Yeah, it's really a quandrum that people are stuck in with, do I go online or do I want a local representative? And we really believe that people will pay for the services to be right here locally, someone you can walk in and talk to, visit with, fill out the paperwork, fill out the online information, and it's the same price as going direct. That's what's beautiful of it. You don't do any savings on the dollar from the consumer perspective by doing that. So with us, it's the same price plus all of those services like your payments, statements from doctors saying what was covered, not covered, your insight to a dental plan or a prescription plan, those type of things. We wanted to really be able to specialize and have full-time staff people to help you through all of these things considered your health care when you retire.
And when it comes to your supplements too, you can shop around. You guys are kind of like a marketplace here. You can shop this around to a lot of different companies.
We absolutely do. We try to have basically all carriers available to us. And so that different carriers get in the market more aggressively some years than other years, and we want to have that ability. We didn't want to put ourselves in a position where we had one company or two companies. We wanted to have multiple companies and then make sure they have the service that you deserve and the price that is the best in the industry.
Angela, we talked about this last time around too. How often should someone come and sit down with you and go over everything with you?
Sure. On a Medicare supplement, I always advise every 3 to 4 years we should definitely look at the pricing and see what compares in the market, because prices change every year. And then also on the prescription drug plan, we should definitely check that out every year.
Yeah. And Jay, right now, we're in season. October, as far as the drug cards go, deadline is coming up December 7th. Folks' phones are ringing off the hook right now, aren't they?
They absolutely are. People from the industry are just sending you emails and Instagrams and phones and traditional mail, any conduit they can find to get to that consumer, because they have your name, they know your age, and they're trying to get to you with some alarming messages to make you initiate communication back to them. And a lot of it, to be quite honest, is scare tactics.
Yeah, it's like clickbait. I guess the point we're trying to make here is that why would you not want to deal with somebody locally and somebody who's going to be here for you after all of this work is done? Because there's always questions once you're all done, right, Angela?
Absolutely. I have lots of people that leave the office and then they call back, oh, I forgot to ask this question, or I forgot to ask this, or weeks later they get an EOB and need help figuring it out. And that's what we're there for.
So give me an example here of something somebody might hear on the phone, Jay, that might just scare the bejeebers out of them.
Well, for 2020, the alarming thing to hear is something about, did you hear about the Medicare changes?
Yeah.
And so it gets you in that oh no mode. It's the negative mode. It's, I didn't hear. I didn't know about this. And it's somebody calling you from a cubicle somewhere in another state. Might be sitting at a pool in Arizona, might be in New York City, and they have your name and they're calling out and saying, did you hear about the Medicare changes? And they want you to tell them what you have. And then they want you to, say, hey, I have Plan G or Plan F, and I'm paying $100 a month. And they want that. and then they're going to give you a quick quote and try to convince you to switch over. And what happens so many times we hear is, well, I did that. I talked to a guy and he was really nice, and then I got something in the mail and I didn't really understand it, and I gave him my information, meaning even your checking account.
Oh, brother.
Yeah. And then you're in. And then now, maybe the policy didn't come back with the rate you expected. Maybe it was the wrong effective dates. Lots of things can go wrong. And then try to find Steve in the cubicle again.
Yeah.
You have to remember, these companies, the insurance industry is full of this. The companies have their own call centers.
Sure they do.
So they have their own Angelas. And they're just blasting out calls, and they're doing dial-ups. They're getting we need 100 dial-ups per hour. So every employee in the call center is calling 100 dial-ups per hour on the average, and or whatever number they have as a quota,
right,
and making those calls.
It's a sales goal here, and here's the difference. Insurance 365 is here 365 days a year, and these are local people who live in our local area. You guys spend local, so when people come down to Insurance 365 to take care of these things, instead of talking with Jake in a cubicle somewhere in Arizona, that money is going to stay here too, and it's going to get reinvested into the economy.
Absolutely. One of the exciting things we're doing right now is we're building onto our building, and we're adding another 2,000 feet. And yes, we've already contacted the furniture places in town. We need refrigerators. We need desks. We need chairs. We need carpet. We need contractors. We need ceiling. We need drywall. All of those things. And that's what people have to understand. The difference is so misleading today. People think, oh, just go direct and buy. Your community then, whether it's supporting your Pheasants Forever banquets, your swimming pools, your libraries, your schools, your hospitals, that's with Angela, myself, and Adrian as owners, and then another 3 employees. You're talking about people that are spending money in your community, and I don't understand why that isn't just very clear in people's minds.
Obvious.
But I think it's like all industries, Jeffrey. It's
it is. It's
a challenge.
If I go buy a car in Omaha, I'm going to get it cheaper there. Well, no, not necessarily, but for some reason that's just ingrained in people's mind that if they go somewhere outside of the community, somehow you're going to save money. Or, boy, if I go online, is this not, the Amazon mentality? Oh, I can get it cheaper online.
Yeah.
Not the case when you're dealing with this.
No, because companies have rates. You have a company, they're not going to say, oh, you're going to get a different rate going from a direct to a carrier versus through an agent. The rates are the rates. Mm-hmm. The Department of Insurance approves of those rates.
Sure.
They don't give a discount for buying from this person or that person.
The difference is the companies, and you can move your things around to different companies, and that's what Angela can help you out with. This is Your Retirement with Insurance 365, and open enrollment season is here. So you're probably getting inundated with emails and calls, and like Jay says, but this is the time to come to the local folks and sit down with Angela and let her walk through this here, Angela, because you specialize in this. You live this day in and day out, don't you?
I do.
And the rest of us don't because we don't want to.
True.
I want to find somebody who can walk us through this. So we're going to do that for you here on the show today. We're going to talk about some of these Medicare supplements. We're going to walk you through it. And then we also have to have a conversation about the drug cards as well, because that deadline is coming up on the 7th of December. These are the folks to find. Insurance 365. They're on South 13th Street. If you missed the building, you're not looking very hard because their name is right across the west wall. Your Retirement with Insurance 365. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to go through all of this for you today on News Talk WJG. We are back with Your Retirement with Insurance 365. Jay Kenobi, good morning once again.
Good morning, Jeffrey.
And Angela Cradaville with us as well. We do this the third Saturday of every month here on News Talk WJAG at about 7:35-ish here. And boy, it is open enrollment time right now, Angela. So I bet you are a busy, busy lady, more so now than ever, right?
That is correct.
Angela does this every day of the year, and Medicare supplement time is really any time of the year, but especially now with the drug cards. So I want to talk with this here because the point we're trying to make with Insurance 365 is you're dealing with somebody local, somebody that does this probably better than anybody because she's so well versed in this. Talk about the importance of creating a good relationship with the local folks here, something that they're not going to get talking to, Jake in the cubicle out in Arizona.
I sit down with our clients and I create a relationship. What I do is I make sure I have everything in the best interest for the client. I want to make sure how they understand everything that they purchased. I want to make sure that they know they can call me if they have any questions, whether it's something silly or something little. We are here for the people, and we want to make sure that they are getting what they are needing.
Those little things become big things, though, because sometimes it's a little thing, but it's kind of like getting your pants caught on a piece of barbed wire fence. You can't go any further until you figure it out, right?
Absolutely.
And all that takes is one phone call. And if you deal with somebody in Timbuktu, you're not going to get that. And remember, these folks are local and they spend locally. Jay, I want to stop right there here. I want to talk about your Insurance 365 physical address that's right here in Norfolk along South 13th Street. New signs going up. You're expanding.
Taking on the about another 2,000 square feet and adding 4 new offices. So we'll be adding some employees. Angela's extremely busy, so looking for more talented people and more space and more resources for our clients specifically. We want to help them more, so we're going to bring in more people.
Angela, we've talked last time around and in our first segment here about the importance of getting your materials looked over to make sure that you are getting maybe the most for your dollar. I want you to share a story because we're going to talk about drug cards coming up. I want you to share a story with a local gentleman who's retired in his late 60s, very successful entrepreneur, worked his rear end off, just really didn't pay attention to details, and he came in and saw Angela, and what happened?
So open enrollment starts October 15th and it runs through December 7th. I had a client who, I guess he wasn't my client at the time. I had a guy come in and he just decided to sit down with me and talk about what options I could have for him during this open enrollment time. Turns out we saved him a couple $1,000s just because he just kept letting his policies renew and never looked into the prescription part of it. And so we basically looked into the prescriptions, found out he could save some money, got him switched, and he was a happy guy.
$3,000?
It was
$3,000 she saved this gentleman. She's so Jay.
Yeah, he came in my office and said she's an angel. I remember that. And he was a good guy. I knew him in town. He was a good city leader, and he just said, he goes, I had no idea. And I said, well, you're a busy guy and you just overlooked it. A lot of people are busy. They don't have time for insurance agents. And so, a 15-minute visit with her was worth $3,000. He knew how to do the math. He was an owner of a business.
She's so modest about this, but that's the kind of service that you're going to get when you sit down, go through this. And as she mentioned, open enrollment is now available for the drug cards through the 7th of December. So walk us through this a little bit here. What do you do with clients when they walk in?
Well, I just want to make sure people know that we are independent agents, and so we offer multiple companies. And so what that means to people is when we shop out their prescription drug cards, that we can give them multiple offers of who the best carrier is. People should always shop out drug cards between this time, October 15th through December 7th, again, is the deadline. But even though your prescriptions don't change from year to year, the drug card companies do. So very important to just look at it. It takes a couple minutes out of your day. For the rest, you're stuck with that card for the next year. I get multiple calls and ask, can I switch in the middle of the year? Because they didn't look at their drug card, and it's you're stuck until October 15th. So I just encourage everybody, no matter if their drugs have changed or not, shop it out.
So maybe the assumption is that, well, my my pharmaceuticals haven't changed, so nothing else is going to change.
Exactly.
But big false,
They
right?
do. That is true. Yeah.
Big red flag. So what about the pharmacies themselves? You try to be as accommodating as you can for the customer. And, there's local pharmacies. There's national chains as well. You like to start with maybe asking them where they prefer to go.
Oh, absolutely.
My doctor does the same thing. Where do you want to go, right?
Yeah.
You do the same thing?
Yes, absolutely. I want to make sure that that client is getting where they want to shop at.
It will affect the prices that you pay depending
Sometimes.
on what pharmaceuticals you have. So let's say, mom and pop are in there. Pop's pharmaceuticals might be a little different than mom's.
Absolutely.
Can they end up going to two different places?
For sure.
If they
absolutely.
really want to maximize their savings.
Absolutely.
Very crucial to walk through the drug card. And then supplement time, though, that's not so crucial as far as being in season. So walk through
That's
that
correct.
for me.
Yeah, Medicare supplements, we can shop out anytime during the year. So there's no need, no rush to think you need to get your supplement checked out immediately. That's anytime during the year. We just have to go through underwriting at that point. So right now is open enrollment for the drug cards. It's the one time a year. They call it annual election period, October 15th through December 7th.
Yeah. So you're stuck with the card. You're not necessarily going to be, if you choose a pharmacy to go to maximize your savings, you don't have to go there the full year. You can change.
You can switch,
You just know that the prices might change just a little bit.
That's correct.
All right. So again, take a look at this, and especially if you haven't had this looked at for a number of years, it would be a great time to do that. Well, it is the time to do that, unless you want to spend another year spending more money than you have. And Jay, money can be tight once you're retired, right? I mean, you got to start watching your P's and Q's.
Absolutely. You start to have a lot more discipline in your retirement years because you have to have a plan. And so that's what I specifically work with is retirement income planning, long-term care, and life insurance. Those three things are what I work with.
So now specifically getting back to the drug card, it's the paperwork. And but she does that for you.
Yeah, she's put in a lot of long hours. There's and that's where our office has had to increase our efficiency and communication every year to make sure Angela's appointment calendar has enough time allotted for each client, because there's a lot of paperwork and there's a lot of things go into this. She'll sit down with you and go through it all case by case and make sure that you understand it, and then fill it out and get it all into the companies. And there's a lot. This is a government product, so there's a lot of regulations, and we have to abide by those regulations and want to abide by those regulations. So, it's very difficult when people just pop in. That's something that, when we started out back in 2015 with her being this role, it was easy for people to pop in and, is Angela doing anything? Nothing. Hey, we just opened. This is great. Come on in. Would you like a donut and some coffee?
Yeah.
Now it's like, no, she's booked today with, I know last year, the high she ever had in one day, she had 13 appointments.
Oh,
now think about it. And it wasn't, her working from 8 to 5. It was 8 to 7, 7:30 at night. So the one thing people have to understand is, you want to talk to Angela, just make the phone call to 371-3136. Call in. I would like to get on Angela's calendar, and anyone in the office, the other 5 or 6 people will answer and say, okay, I'll pull her up. How about next Thursday? How about next Friday? What works for you? Because it's hard to pop in and just help me out, because then what happens is you're taking someone else's time that's already scheduled.
Yeah.
We don't want to do that.
And the earlier the better. How much time should people allot for this?
Well, what I usually do is a half hour to an hour.
When they come in for the appointment, what should they have with them?
Yeah, I would need to know all prescriptions that they are taking, not over-the-counter drugs, just all pharmacy drugs.
All right, so bring them along or snap a picture of them on your phone maybe
Right.
as well?
That's correct.
Dosages, how often,
yeah.
all of that. Yeah, okay. And then Medicare supplements, it's probably a good time to just do it all at once, isn't it?
Yeah, we can definitely take a look at that.
Sure. Jay would love that, wouldn't you, Jay?
Absolutely. That part's fairly easy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of different thoughts and plans around today with the Medicare supplement and alternatives. So you have to, again, work with someone educated in that area to show you anything that's going on and options out there. So
All right. So one more thing that I want to talk about here before we wrap up this edition of Your Retirement with Insurance 365. Jay Kenobi with us and Angela Cradaville. If you're within 10 years of retiring, all of the things that we've been talking about here for the past several minutes, when you talk about retiring in a general sense, but if you've been listening here, there's a lot of detail that you got to start digging down into the closer you get to retirement. So if you're within 10 years of retirement, probably a visit to Insurance 365 is a great idea.
Yeah, I like to sit down with people 10 years and out, and what we really try to find out is what are you looking at for replacing that income. Jeffrey, I'm sure you've had employees here that would love to stay forever, right? But
where's the door?
Eventually everybody says, you know what? I was making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 a year. How do I replace that?
Right.
And there's multiple thoughts out there. There's multiple ways to do things. You know, what I tell people is this: I'm going to sit down with you and show you a couple different ways. You take it for what it's worth. But I've found such peaceful thoughts, and people have sent me emails and texts saying, I'm so glad I met with you. Now we can see what's going to happen in 4 to 5 years. Otherwise, it's just this, we'll keep working. And what's funny is people always think like this magic bullet's going to come along and, you know, we're going to work another 3 years. And I'll say, well, you're going to work another 3 years. Why? What's the difference between now and then? Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. Well, after you meet with me, you know what the difference between 3 years is.
Yeah.
You can quantify it.
Well, and we've had people around here, too, where they are really afraid to step out into retirement because they don't think that they have the income. But I've also seen in a couple of cases where after they go talk to Jay or their financial planner, wow, I do have enough to do this. So maybe you'll find out that I'm not going to work 10 more years. Maybe I can get out of this in 6.
Yeah, a lot of people have been amazed when you go through the process with me, just the simplicity of it and the multiple options. I mean, there's options that I give that are not services of mine.
Yeah.
I mean, we're an insurance agency, so I'm going to offer insurance products. And I don't get involved in other people's business and say, you know, I can do everything. No, here's what I do here's what I do, and I do it great.
Yeah.
But here's also things that other people have done, and I show them to you, and you might use those services somewhere else here in town. So
there you go.
Just an objective viewpoint and getting some clarity as to when can we do this. That's what most people want to know. When can I retire?
Outstanding. Well, what you really need to do is go talk to Angela because it is open enrollment time for your drug cards through Medicare. So make an appointment with Angela. Give her a call. What's the number again, Jay?
371-3136.
All right. And they are there to answer all of your questions and to walk you through the Medicare open enrollment period, which is now through the 7th of December. You can contact these fine folks here. Look them up online, insuranceagency365.com. You can email Angela at insurance365.com or Jay at insuranceagency365.com or give them a call, 402-371-3136. Insurance 365. Angela, thanks once again.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
Jay, as always, thank you once again. And that is this month's edition of Your Retirement with Insurance 365. We'll talk to you again next month on the third Saturday here on News Talk WJAG.